If you're an owner and a founder and people don't look up to you and want to be like you, you're not going to grow a big business. Fitness and being in shape and being that standard, people respect that. And people want to be around that. People don't want to be around someone that's fat and sloppy. I don't. But are they going to look up to you? Do they want to be like you? Are they going to come in your company and want to be you? Probably not. I wouldn't. So for 27 years, I couldn't attract the right people because I wasn't the person I needed to be. Stallions are not going to run with turkeys, and I was a turkey. You can have the money, because I had it in my 20s, and you're miserable. That's why money's not the answer. Most people are just so focused on money that they're out of shape, they have bad relationships, their kids don't look up to them, and they're not fulfilled, because money doesn't fulfill you.
I wish every entrepreneur in the world just knew what you just said.
Yeah.
Looking back on the 20-year-old version of yourself, when you were starting the business out, what would you tell yourself now, looking back at 50 now?
I would tell myself that.
Hey guys, in this video, you're gonna hear from an entrepreneur, Jason Watson, who's generated a couple $100 million in revenue in his flooring, cabinet, and construction empire. He's a total killer. He's one of my top clients. He runs a coaching business on self-mastery, so he's gonna drop you real life tips to help your business scale, to help your life scale, to help your marriage scale, and he's gonna teach you tactical things in this conversation that him and I are having to take your life or your business from right here to here. Now guys, I like to learn from people who aren't just saying it, but they're actually doing it. This guy's got an amazing life, a dream life, an entrepreneurial life that we all strive for. Right now, he's living in Scottsdale, Arizona, while his business is running in 8 states, and he's not having to directly work in the business, he's working on the business. We've got him to exit out of the business, and he can just work on the business. That's any entrepreneur's dream. Most entrepreneurs, they're working in a job. They're working in a prison. They don't really have something that they are really, really proud of. So today, you're gonna hear from somebody who's actually done what they're telling others to do. And in the internet, you're gonna see a lot of people aren't that. So I personally love to hear from people who have done it so you can model it, so you can understand it, and so you can use it in your life with verification. This guy's verified. He's a beast. He's a savage. Watch this video, take notes. Let's go. All right, guys, I'm with Jason Watson. Jason is one of our top clients, like I was telling you guys. The guy has built a dream life. And when I say dream life, he's got an amazing wife. Our kids are best friends. He lives here in Scottsdale with me. And you can tell he's ripped. Jason, show him the abs, damn it. Show him the freaking abs. All right, dude. He's 75 years old. All right, he's not really 75. Jason, how old are you?
I'll be 50 years old in August.
All right, dude, he's getting ready to turn 50. He's freaking jacked as hell. I like learning from people that have actually applied the knowledge to their life. What I mean by that is, if you look at his family, if you look at his kids, if you look at his business, that it's currently in South Carolina?
We're in actually 8 different states.
8 different states.
Corporate office is North Carolina.
Corporate office is North Carolina, but he has the business operating without him, which entrepreneurs, that's a dream. A lot of people, when they go into entrepreneurship, all they do is just create themselves a job. And a lot of people, you know, they create themselves a prison, and a prison is like, man, you're stuck in it, you're doing all the different jobs, which I know early on in your career you did, so you can help people understand like how you become an operator. Like now you're just operating the business and doing these different things. So today I want to talk about mastery. You're a guy that's literally mastered himself, like in terms of habits, in terms of mindset, in terms of all the different things. The coaching company that you're starting while you're down here. So he started a coaching company. So if you resonate with him, there's a lot of things that you can learn from him, a lot of things that I learned from him. And just all these different elements that I really see in your life as like knowing you, not online. Me and you, we know each other separately from like what the public knows us as. Me and you, we actually like hang out, we pick our kids up together. I always see you at the bus line in the morning, you know, doing your thing. So we've gotten to know each other in a great way. So super cool. So I'm excited about this. You guys are going to learn a lot. Jason, what I first want to start with is now at 60 years old, looking back on the 20-year-old version of yourself when you were starting the business out, what would you tell yourself now, like looking back on it? Like maybe it's some of the things that you could have done, maybe it's some of the things that you're proud of yourself about, like, but looking back, like, what were some of those moments that led to creating this, you know, multiple 8-figure empire, creating this really great business that's in 8 different states? What would you look back and tell yourself as like that? When did you start it?
Hey guys, if you ever need anything at all you got to do is text the number below and we'll be there for you.
I started it right out of high school, so I was pretty much 18, 19 years old. 18.
So like 18, what would you tell yourself looking back like 50, like at 50 now?
I would tell myself that one, I would self-develop like a maniac.
Yeah.
Because that's really when things started to change for me, and get around people that have the business that you actually want and figure out how to get close to them. If I could go back and get there much quicker. What I see today of what I've learned over the past 5 years is that like getting around people that's already been there and done that will cut 10 years off of your life trying to figure it out.
Do you feel like
yourself.
early on you didn't do that a whole lot? Like you were just like in the business, just grinding and just like trying to figure it out and pushing yourself. But like you're like, man, there was another way I could have moved with speed. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think anytime you start a business, like you've got to get into the business. You're in the weeds. You need to understand every aspect of your business, right?
Yeah.
But there's a point in time to where you need to get out of the business, right? For me, it was the dream was to get to the point to where I was just the founder of the company and I wasn't in the day-to-day. Now, early in my career, I wasn't thinking like that. It was just about making money because I didn't have money growing up. So it was just about how many floors can I put in, how long can I work, how much money can I make? And then it started to evolve into a business. And then what I found is over the years, I literally like killed myself. Like a lot of people don't know is, they look in now and they see you, having the house or the nice car, but they don't realize that you spent the last 30 years literally killing yourself to get to this point, right? There was many nights, pretty much every 3 months, I would be in the hospital, like literally
just
from
stressed out.
Ulcers. The doctors would tell me like, hey, you're going to have to do half of what you're doing or you're not going to be around. Like that happened
just
my whole
because
career.
Was that because you were just like working so hard at figuring it out?
Just grinding. Like putting floors in, then coming back and you're in this, you're doing the operations, you're doing sales. You're basically, when you start your business, you're wearing all the hats. And looking back at it now, that's just like, you can only do that for a certain amount of time. I say like, once you get to the point where you can make your first key hire, like you should spend the money on that. And what most people do in small businesses is they create a lifestyle business to where
that's true.
They're making so much money and they get the big house and the car, but
they're still in the job.
They're still in the job, right? And they're working all these hours. And they can't enjoy the things that they actually dreamed about because they don't have a team of people.
Right.
And so without building a team, you're never going to get yourself out of the way. And most entrepreneurs, the reason they stay small and stuck, because I was this guy until, again, the past 3 years, is because we as entrepreneurs and owners, we want to control everything because it's our baby. We want to be the solution to every problem. And the problem with that is it just keeps you on the hamster wheel and you never really have a business. You have a job that you got to buy your own benefits with and you're taking all the risks.
Totally.
Right? You do
Stressful
everything yourself.
Job.
Stress and you have no time. And it's like the reason I wanted the business, the long-term vision was to get to the point to where the business ran without me.
Right.
And the only way that happened, truthfully, is because I became better myself.
Yep.
So for 27 years, I couldn't attract the right people because I wasn't the person I needed to be.
Right.
Because I wanted to control things. So again, you hire an A player, they're not going to come in and work with someone that wants to micromanage.
Ooh, that's so true.
Tell them what to do. Hey, I used to do it this way. You're never going to get people to want to stay on your team, and you're never going to get really strong A players. And so what I found is becoming me self-developing, getting around other mentors, other business owners doing way more than I'm at, then you start to think differently. Like, what are these guys doing differently than what I'm currently doing? And so building a team, developing leaders around you is key. Like, so if you're running a business, you got to have leaders in place, and then those leaders need to develop leaders in place. And this is really the only way your business ever grows without you. And by the way, if you're working in the business, and so I have a goal of selling the business in the next, say, 5 to 10 years. Well, if you're in the weeds of your business is not worth anything.
Nothing.
If you go away, there's no business. That means there's no value.
Totally.
You're not going to get the most on your multiple on your sale. Like you've just created a lifestyle business.
Totally.
So now my focus is developing leaders around me, empowering them to make decisions, giving them the clear outcomes I want, and I let them go do it as long as they operate within my core values. I don't care if you go left or right. As long as we do it the right way and you hit the outcomes I want, and then I show them how they win during that process.
Love that.
Is how my business has doubled since in the past 12 months because we've just changed some of these things and really focusing on the team. Like really focusing on our people. Everybody in our company has a comp plan.
Yeah.
It's all tied to the vision and the mission that I set out. So I know if you win, I'm going to win. So I'm not focusing 100%. On Jason anymore.
How many leaders don't do that? Like they don't tie a comp plan to the vision. They don't tie a comp plan to like customer service or the vision of the company. They just tie it to sales or the daily sales or whatever it is. And they don't tie it to a vision. So the people aren't really even pushing for something huge.
That's right. Or they're just number focused, right? And that doesn't work either, right? It's like in our business, you got to be customer service.
Yeah, we're KPI focused here.
Right. So if we're not getting an LOR, letter of recommendation on every project, for me being decision outside of the business. It's the only way that I know we win. Because if a contractor says, hey, we would recommend you to do another 400 units, I know that we've done a good job.
We did a great job.
Right? And if I don't get it, in my mind, we didn't do a good job. Right? So it's setting that culture, having a culture, right? A winning culture, having core values, having a mission, vision. Most small companies they don't have any of that.
Yeah.
The only thing they have is the owner that's making a lot of money, and everybody, it's about him. And until you switch that and make it about them, you'll always be in your business.
Hey, that's a good one. Now, I want to ask you, because that part that you said, I know that entrepreneurs, especially if you're behind this camera, and if you're a salesperson, you have to understand something. The most valuable person, I think, in any organization is a person that can understand what he's saying and actually help that founder bring the dream to life. Like, this isn't my business, but then hearing what Andy wanted, like the vision of him being able to go out and travel and be the face of the company and somebody run the company, I understood that from day one. So my number one goal was so that he could get his dreams, and I knew if he got his dreams, then I would get mine,
100%.
right? And how many people in a company right now don't understand how valuable that they could be to be that needle mover that could go help a founder get that? Like, if somebody would have walked in, you would have met somebody 3-4 years ago, which you now met a few of those people.
Right.
But you were searching everywhere for those people. You said something really valuable. You said, I had to become that person to be able to attract that person. Like, now we got Quentin, we got all these different leaders in your company. But how did you become that person? And also, how hard was it to give up that control so that you could go up? I call it give up so you can go up. You got to give up those things. It's so hard to give up that one process, but it could equal something big in the future. How hard was it to give up that process? And then what did you have to do to become that person? So two-sided question. Give up to go up, and then, how did you, become that guy?
Yeah, I think becoming that guy was spending a lot of time reflecting on myself and wondering why I kept going through, people, right? Why would they come and go, the good people? Why was I still in the grind, even though I wanted to get out of the grind? And for me,
so it had to do with you.
Everything has to do with
100%.
If I say this, if the company wins, it is the team's credit. If the company loses, it is the owner's fault. Period. Or the founder's fault. It's the team's credit, and it's my fault if it doesn't work. Right? Because I'm setting the tone as a leader of the company.
I'd write that down.
Right? I mean, that's huge. It's like, and most owners don't do that. They want it to be about them. Right? And so you just have to change that focus. But for me, again, it was paying attention to the companies that I wanted to aspire to be like, and like, how are they creating this big company? How's this guy, at the coffee shop in the middle of the day? And so you start studying those people, and you start to get in mentorship groups, like we're in here. Yeah. And so when you get around other people doing bigger and better things, you literally, like, your thought process changes. Yeah. Right. And so really becoming a maniac in self-development. I say obsessed with self-development. Exposure, like that, getting exposed to like a different level, something you don't have. Right. Like a team culture that you haven't seen before, something like that. You're like, oh my God, like I can't think different because I see a different experience. Yeah, and really, like, until when I got here, when I met you guys, a year and a half ago, like, I've never seen anything like it here as far as a culture and how you guys operate as a team. I've never seen that. And I've been a part of a lot of groups for years. And so I literally left here and started implementing some of the things. Yeah, you're like, I got to have some of that. I'm putting that in. Dude, I started implementing the same stuff, right? Helping them more get in shape, right? Because before it was just about helping me. I never even thought about helping my team get in shape. But now that we've done that and helping them, set goals for themselves, helping them figure out how to obtain that. To me, that's been the biggest shift in my company. But it all started because I got around another group like you guys that, again, most people, they're making the same decisions because they have the same information. Right. And if you don't get new information, like, you don't know what you don't know. So once you get new information, you start getting new ideas, new thoughts, new belief systems. Totally. Then your perspective changes, and once you change your perspective, everything changes. Yeah, just like that. If we literally just replayed that over and over, that's the thought loop that gets you out of just that box that you're in as an entrepreneur. You're seeing the same things every day, but then you start to see new, you start to experience new, and then everything starts to change. Your perspectives and thoughts change. Boom, you're good. It changes everything. Right. And then the part about, being able to let go. I mean, I think, I've had people that I've tried to bring in to run the company. And again, I look back at over the past 30 years and realize, like, it was honestly because it was me. Like, I wasn't who I needed to be, right? And stallions are not going to run with turkeys. And I was a turkey. I was a good turkey. Yeah, you're a fast turkey. I couldn't attract the stallion. I couldn't have attracted Quentin 5 years ago. Yeah, because I'd have been all in his stuff. Yeah, right. So I had to become that leader, that person, that individual that attracts other people to want to get around me. And then I need to be able to paint the picture this paint pictures, tell stories of my business and where I'm going. That's why
Right.
Quentin shut down his business.
The vision. Yep.
To come work for me, because I sold this big vision, and he's going to make more than he's ever made this year, and next year he'll
Even
double
operating
it.
his own company.
His life's going to change forever,
Yeah.
and that was my commitment to him. It's like, you come do this thing with me, I'm going to make sure that you're taken care of, not just financially, but also personally. Like, because again, we spend time talking about relationships. Where did I learn that? Here. We spend time talking about, are we getting in shape? Where did I learn that? Here. Even though I was in shape, I didn't think of it like that. You know, and just, we've changed like how we're just treating our people in our company. Like,
Yeah, just the culture, the way that you guys are going about things.
Yeah, it's like when I talk to people now that we bring on, it's about, I wanted to know what values you have. Is it aligned with my values? Because if we don't get that right, I don't care how much money you make me, it will not last. It won't work. It might work for 6 months, a year. It never works out long term if you're not aligned with the same values.
Yeah.
So
how many times you hire in the past, like where you just didn't hire on those values because you were just hiring because somebody fogged a mirror, and then you get them in the company, and how much money does that cost you? How much time? How much energy? Like the number one, my view when I'm coaching companies is the number one problem that I feel they have is they hire the wrong people. They let the wrong people on the bus. Then it's hard to get those people off the bus. Then when those people are on the bus, they spoil everybody that's on the bus. And so hiring to me seems like it's literally the worst problem that I see in every company. I have to physically go sit down and write them out an entire hiring process, who they're looking for, how they're looking for, how to talk about their core value, because they don't even know. They're like, just come on and work, and then they're like, I don't understand, and I'm like, and I'm like, it's a science the way that you also know who you are, but then the way that you bring people on and coach them up to these values. But you got to have those values.
Right.
So you're saying that part of knowing how to do that hiring process of knowing how, now you've got all these studs that are around you and they're all growing. Like I met your team. They were fired up. This last weekend at the Goggins event, they were excited. They're passionate. They really believe in you, but you got to believe in you first. You had to become that guy first.
Yeah, and I to answer your question, like, we hired everybody wrong before? Like, because it's like, can you sell or can you operate?
Go.
Will you show up?
Yeah.
And if you can do that, like we're hiring you, but it never works.
Totally.
And again, most companies don't really have values, smaller businesses, right? And that's everything I'm focused on now. Like, we have to be aligned there first. Then if we're aligned that, then we check your skills, right? And do you want the same things that we're looking for, you know, like in our life, right? Do you want the same things? Do you want, if you're married, like do you spend time with your wife? Are you taking care of your wife? Because these are the things that I'm instilling.
Or you're at the bar drinking.
Exactly.
You know, partying.
And again, I'm not saying any of that's bad necessarily, but that doesn't
your
align
culture
with
and what you believe,
No, it don't work.
what you believe, and see, a lot of people hire like against what their culture is, like who they're trying to become, and then their culture is totally not what they want. They walk into the business, they hate the business, and they're like, I just hate going. You know how many times I hear from founders that I hate the business that I'm in, and it ultimately becomes because they have some values that are their values, but they haven't even really shared them. Maybe they're not even good at articulating them. So they end up like hating the people that they're around, and it becomes miserable.
Yeah, and a lot of companies too, there's no purpose, right? And so it doesn't have to be your business to work in the business to have purpose on what we're doing. And to me, without purpose, when things get hard, that's why people quit. When there's purpose behind something, you just
you'll run through a wall.
You don't even think about it. You get tired, but you just keep running, right? And that's, I think, tying the purpose in and making sure everyone's aligned on where we're going and how you win in the process. So it's about helping your team as an owner or founder. How do we help them reach their personal, professional, financial goals? Because most people don't even know how to set goals. So how do I help you do that? How do I help you win? How do I make sure your relationship's good?
Damn, I wish every entrepreneur in the world just knew what you just said.
Yeah.
And some of them might even miss that because that piece is a driving factor in somebody's life. Like they want that, but if we don't know how to help them get that, then there's no way for us to get what we want, which is ultimately to grow the business, but we have to grow them. And how many people just forget that they're people, that they have goals, that they have dreams, and we focus so heavily on our dreams and we focus not a lot of times on their dreams. But if they get their dreams, that's where loyalty is built. You know what I mean?
1,000%. There's no loyalty if you're not helping them win. And why should there be? Why would you expect them to stay? And now it just becomes down to money, and then they'll just leave you for the next 10 or 50 grand that someone else is going to get them because there's no tie to it. I can tell you that there's people in my company that could probably go somewhere else and make more money. They would have a hard time coming to me and telling me that because we have relationships together. I care about them. They care about the mission, the vision that we're on as this company. And to me, that's why people stay. It's not, it's not just because of money. You need money, but like that's not everything. And if that's the only thing that you're after in the company, you won't be there anyway.
Yeah, totally.
You just won't last.
See, what I think you became is you became a coach to the people, and for a while you were just a manager. So
Right.
you were just managing, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then, but a coach, that person is going to be there for you when it's hard. You know, like loyalty is built to me when it's like not everybody's cashing checks, making money, but it's like when they can come to you and it's like they're going through things in life and we can remind them of their dreams, we can push them. Like that's why when people walk in here, they're like, the building is so different and this building is amazing and oh my God, what's in this building? And really it's just passion. It's really, you know, we've went through a lot of the things with these people. So when they show up a little bit differently than they naturally would in another company. Because we could take a guy right out of our company and put him in another company, but because he would probably be with a manager that wouldn't care about him, wouldn't push him, wouldn't show him the next level of himself, he would eventually just fizzle out.
Yeah. I think the other thing too is important. I see this with a lot of founders, especially once they start making a certain amount of money, is they're coasting. They've made enough money or they're making enough money.
I see that every day.
And they don't want to grow. And here's the thing, you're not going to attract people, the right studs.
If you're comfortable.
Yep. So if you're not, like as a founder, you want to get really good people and you want to build something big, you better be able to have energy and be passionate about what we're doing.
Totally.
Selling where we're going every single day.
How many dead founders
Here's what we're doing
that are like, I don't have the team. I'm like, bro, do you look in the mirror and see your fire,
you suck.
your energy, your belief, your dream?
Yeah.
I mean, I see that all the time, like to the point where I don't work with some founders or some companies. Like I'm very specific who I work with because I'll see that and I know it doesn't, like I'm like, man, I want to coach everybody, but I'm not going to coach people who've given up. And some people have just flat out given up on the dream, and I can re-expire you through some exposure, but like if you're not dreaming big, it's really hard for me to connect with you.
Well, and two, that what they don't
just
realize,
like it's hard for the employees to connect with you.
Yeah, they think that they're comfortably made of money, and what happens when you lose that drive? Your competition comes in and takes you.
Yeah.
And then your people go work for the competition because this guy's dreaming bigger over here and he's got bigger plans.
Totally.
And you're over here comfortable because you've made it, but they haven't made it, and then they'll even go somewhere where they can make it.
And they want to fit into like something that's bigger than them, where they can see. Like I posted on Facebook the other day, I'm like, quit with the pizza party shit. Pizza parties don't build morale.
Right.
Like actually paying your people the right way, which you talked about in compensation, actually showing them a growth plan where they can grow in the company. That's what makes people want to give it their all. I know that the value that I bring to this company is extreme because I'm willing to die for it. I'm willing to show up every day for it. I've never taken one day off. Like I just go. But it's because there was a growth plan for me. There's compensation. Andy, like you're talking about with your CEO, Quentin, it was the same thing for me. He was like, hey, this is who you can be. This is how I'm going to support you. If you're willing to go through the war, the hard shit, the not. And I'm like, I'm willing to go through all of that because I see my dreams. Then my dreams started to happen, and I'm like, and people would come to me, founders all the time, like, how do we create a you in this company? I'm like, well, number one, you'd probably have to not be you. Because you don't look like you really give a shit about people's dreams. You have the intention of money, whereas Andy had the intention of like serving me and my family, which made me want to be great for his company. Yes. And I think people got that backwards. They're like, money, money, money. I'm like, we didn't even talk about money most of the time. We talked about my dreams and how I was going to get there.
100%. And that's what I loved about, when I first met Andy for the first time. It's like, in fact, he won't even talk to me about money today. If I went and asked him, he'd just probably tell me to go home and spend time with my wife. Right? Because that's the focus. But that's like what I've learned so much from being in this group is that, man, if you can just pour into other people and show them what's possible,
it happens. It just happens.
It just happens, right? And so you're not going to you're not going to get good people if you're not dreaming.
Totally.
Like, who's going to come work for you if you're not dreaming? Or when the people come in, if they have no ambition, why would you let them on your team?
Totally.
So if they don't have aspirations of being great, you got to ask yourself, does this fit the culture that I'm trying to build?
Because then that's going to bring over everybody and you.
Yeah, it's going to bring
And as
bring
a founder, it sucks to walk into your company and not to have those people around, but then also to be like, well, something's wrong with me. Well, it's just that you probably haven't been exposed to the right information. Going back to like when you first met Andy, you had this big business, you're crushing it in life. On paper, you're doing all these amazing things. Why would a guy at your level invest in a program like this? And like, how did that first stuff happen? Like when you first saw Andy, when you first reached out, what was your experience like with our group and like that coaching? And why were you even trying to get coaching as a guy that's made that type of money?
Yeah, so
I mean, we kind of covered that, but can we cover it a little deeper?
Yeah, it's good. So I always say, like, if the student is searching, the teacher will appear.
Yeah.
So I was with other coaching companies before, or other mentors.
Yeah.
And I told Al, I was like, this is, I joined this new group. I went to like 3 meetings, and all they talked about was making more money. And then they wanted to go eat chicken wings and pizza and beer afterwards. And then they look forward to going out of town on these trips so they could get away from their wives. I'm like, this is just not what and by the way, I've been with a lot of different mentors, and
it's most of them.
It's all of them. I've never met it until here, right? And so when I saw Andy one day on a podcast, it was a Sunday afternoon, and he got on there, and I was like, why have I not seen this guy before? You know, it was on Bradley's podcast. And he got up, and he's obviously he was in shape, so that's attracting to me.
Right, so you saw that moral authority, similar to you.
Which, by the way, if you're an owner and a founder and people don't look up to you and want to be like you, you're not going to grow a big business anyway.
Totally.
And that's why I say fitness. We can talk about that in a little bit, but like fitness and being in shape and being that standard, people respect that. And people want to be around that. People don't want to be around someone that's fat and sloppy. I don't. Doesn't mean we don't care about you, but are they going to look up to you? Do they want to be like you? Are they going to come in your company and want to be you? Probably not. I wouldn't. The only reason I'm here with you guys.
Imagine if Andy was fat.
I would have never called him if he was fat. I didn't come here to learn how to make money.
I honestly say Andy getting in shape made this company like what will be one day $1 billion, because on the revenue that we're on track to, if you looked at 98% of it, it's, I mean, probably 100% of it is because they see that moral authority. They know he's taking care of himself. And then when they get to meet him, they know that his shit is actually in line. Not that he's just in shape online, but you've actually you've traveled the world with us. You've been on stages with us all around the world. And then going back to what you said, how you met him, but you've actually seen everything offline of like actually how we operate. So you have a very unique perspective that most people don't behind the camera.
Yeah, so there was 2 things, the reason I joined right away. Remember, I wired the money. I may have been the first one to do it. I never met you guys.
You joined our brotherhood group. It was our first. It was like we had just started out. Our goal was Andy had stopped coaching for a while, and that was kind of the idea of it. Was he wanted to continue to coach, but he was busy, and we were trying to carve out a group of like the most committed guys, like business owners that really wanted to be around him. Because when he's coaching somebody, it's when he's most on fire, right? He's on fire all the time, but like he has to be surrounded by like a group that's his group. So we started the brotherhood group. You invested in it, and at the time it was like $50K. It's like triple that now, but. I remember at your house one time, you said you invested in it and you honestly thought it was bullshit because it was so cheap. That's what you told me. And I was like, I think that was when I raised the price the first time.
Well, yeah, because I would have paid double, honestly. But, you know, when I think it was someone that's not here, he tried to sell me it was a $2,500 program. I'm like, well, what's that going to
do? Yeah, you're like, that ain't going to come to shit.
How do I work with him? And that's when he said that, I ended up getting on the phone with him, you know, wired the money that day. I never even met you guys. Like I'd already made up my mind anyway when I saw the podcast, because again, he was in shape. The second thing that hit home to me, which is super important, was taking your family with you. Those are the 2 reasons why I'm here. It had nothing to do with money. It was because he was in shape and cared about himself. And I look up to that and respect that, because I know how hard it is when you're older, and the fact that he said take his family everywhere. And that's why I'm here.
And we know that part is really hard, you know, because
it's the hardest thing ever.
As an entrepreneur, and if you're an entrepreneur listening to this, you know, we have the ability to we want a mission, get the mission, go after it. But there's a certain skill set that you have to learn. And it might sound crazy to some people, but when you're an obsessed, driven entrepreneur, you're attacking all day long to go get this thing. And you can forget about your family. You can, and it's not like we forget about them. We know they're at home, but it's like there's a certain level of attention and a mindset that we have to build to really not forget about these things at home, take care of the home priorities. And that shit's hard as an entrepreneur.
It's very hard.
Right?
It's very difficult.
And then also the marriage part, that stuff's hard as an entrepreneur. I think that in my point of view, the number one thing that hurt businesses the most is not marketing, it's not buildings, it's not operations. I think it's the family aspect, or then you go get the big life, but then you look back and you're by yourself, and we're not trying to experience that, you know, because we want to take care of our families, but along the way, it's just, man, you could wake up and, you know, we see entrepreneurs all the time. Like, I'm happy that today, me and you, our wives are best friends, our kids go to the same schools, like we're doing this thing together. We're not perfect, right? But it's like, we've achieved keeping that together and going and getting both, which is really hard, right?
Yeah, it's super hard. And
sometimes it can feel impossible.
And this is what I tell my team when they came to the last event. We went to dinner afterwards, and half of them was in tears. And the reason being is because I steered into the relationship piece. And only because it's the hardest thing for me as an entrepreneur. For one, my dad wasn't, I had, the upbringing wasn't good. So I didn't see, I never got a hug from my dad. I was never told I did anything right. I was told I did everything wrong. I don't ever remember having dinner at the table. Like, I don't know what a good relationship looked like. I never got affection. So I didn't see those things growing up, so it's very difficult for me. And because I'm driven, to accomplish things, like it's easy to let the thing that's most important slide. And so now when I'm coaching people or helping people in my team, I'm like, dude, if your relationship is not on fire, you are not going to be the best version of yourself. You're not going to produce, and it's just not going to work out.
Totally.
So when your wife's birthday in my company or your kid's birthday, you go spend time with them. I'm still paying, but you go spend time with them, because I believe that is the thing that will propel you to the next level.
Totally.
So if that's not right, nothing else works. You can have the money, because I had it in my 20s, and I tried to buy things to make me happy. I remember that. I'd go buy a car, I'd go spend whatever on clothes, trying to make myself feel good, and you're miserable. That's why money's not the answer, right? People are chasing the money instead of the like Andy says, chase the man.
Yeah.
Become the person you need to be, and figure out what's important to you. And your family's, your health should be number one, right? Because without that, you have nothing. Then your family. And if you can get that right, man, it'll just take you everywhere else. And most people are just so focused on money that they're out of shape, they have bad relationships, their kids don't look up to them, and they're not fulfilled, because money doesn't fulfill you.
Totally. I honestly, if I was 28, like I remember 28 was when I met Andy and Jackie, and honestly, I had such bad relationships, and it wasn't even, I'm not even blaming those relationships. I know it was on me. I was drinking. I was great at making money. So I had a few $100,000 in the bank, which I thought was just, I was the greatest person to walk the earth, which was truly like not even nothing. But I'm like, Mr. like, oh man, I got the house, I got the cars, I'm going through these relationship things. And I was always like internally like feeling lost. But like, it's weird when you go get your dreams, like dreams of having the money, but then you're empty. It's like you go get the Lamborghini, you got the Lamborghini, but you're sitting there like, man, this just isn't it.
Yeah.
And I suffered that, like when I met Andy and Jackie and they were talking about, like, I didn't really need help selling anything. I was going to outwork people. I knew how to make friends. I knew how to, make an impact on customers. I knew I'd go the furthest. I knew that nobody was going to outwork me ever. Like, it was just how I operated. So I wasn't really looking, I just had this hole in my heart. It was like a missing piece of like, number one, I didn't know God. I didn't really know how to operate like a family. I never seen a family operate. And so at 28, I was pretty lonely, man. I was like, dude, this isn't it. I was in a relationship that was failing at the time. I went to Andy and Jackie and they were teaching me all these things about becoming the man that I never even really knew about.
Right.
And shoot, now at 35, I'm like, man, like if I would have had a kid back then and then now sped the time up and then continued on that same path, honestly, I don't even know if I'd be here because I would have been so miserable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, they have the kids, they have the wife, and then you go along this chase, and you chase all the wrong things, and then you get to a place where it's just like, whew.
It's a lonely place.
It's a lonely place, right?
Yeah.
So I think mentorship of having that, because there's a lot of people like us that came from broken families, that are just so freaking obsessed with their dreams and wanting to feel that feeling of like, man, I made it, I did these things, but they lose track of that, they lose track of their health. How have you been able to, keep some of those things together? The health, the family, the business, you got hundreds of employees, you got all these things that you're doing, what's the foundation of that for you? Like, how have you been able to do that and keep that together?
Man, a lot of people won't understand this, but it is 1,000% fitness. Like
Truly.
when I started on this fitness journey, again, why I connected with Andy so well is because he talks it right, and I'm like, man, you just don't hear people talk about it, and I experience it, and it's hard to find people that understand it.
Yeah.
But I've been on this health fitness journey for 16 years, like steady, where I've been pretty good shape, better than most for 16 years.
You're
like
freaking
what
jacked,
you see
bro.
now is what I've done for the last 15 years. Like there's no hidden things. Like when I'm.
Do you think you had to do that just to keep your shit together too? Like all the stress management and everything?
1,000%, man. That's like fitness.
Because honestly, I feel like I'd have died if I didn't have this fitness over the last 5 years of building this company.
Yeah, people don't understand, man.
In car sales, it was okay. I could sell people. Shit wasn't that stressful. It was just like I was making it more stressful. But running a company is a whole different story.
Yeah, if you're not taking care of yourself, like you're not going to compete with someone that's in shape mentally. Like you're not. Your thinking's different. Like,
like your mental acuity and like your response, the way you process information, everything.
And again, people that are not in shape, they're probably saying that's not true. That's because you've never been in really good shape.
Yeah, but what if you were?
If you were, and then you'll be just a different person, because there's no way I would have been able to get through all the things that I had to get through in my business, the hard times, the long hours, the being in the hospital, if I wasn't in shape, I wouldn't have got through that. And so building that discipline, getting to the gym, even though I was busy, I always found my way to the gym. Like I have to, and I don't want to go half the time.
100%.
But I go in a way, like, because that is like, it's, for one, it's my identity. Anybody that knows Jason, there is not one person that says like he doesn't take care of himself. It doesn't matter what I have going on.
And you know what I love about your family? Like when we come over to your house, it's like, your kids live it. My kids live it. Like I go home yesterday and Cannon's running around the block with his headphones on, and he's got his glasses on, and he's just running, listening to motivation, sending me podcasts. Like our kids are a little different, dude. You know, and then like your wife, she's always cooking like really good meals. Like our kids are growing up in a whole different land,
Way
right?
different, dude.
You're now. Going back to Andy, so you meet Andy the first time, and you have these habits, you're on this alignment, you're in this journey, you get in this program, and then you come down to a seminar. What was your experience like when you first got down here, and then you seen this, and like what happened with you there?
Yeah, wow. The first time I came here, I mean, again, I had no.
And Allie came with you the first time, right?
Allie came with me, and true like story, like me and Allie weren't doing well at the time.
Yeah.
Like, we literally came here, and we haven't spoke in our own house.
Yeah.
For over a week. Like literally, we'd be in the same house, be this close, and wouldn't even say hello.
Yeah.
And it was probably because I did something stupid. I don't even know what it was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I probably said something or whatever, right? And so, but let me say this too, and then I'll come back to that. The reason why we were having some challenges is I was going around doing different events and seminars and all these different coaching things, and I was self-developing without my wife. And although she was taking care of our kids, which is by far the most important thing, I could not do what our wives do.
Totally.
Well, like I would have to have like 20 people around me.
Totally.
But we were,
and our wives are savages. They're freaking, they're top models, and they're freaking killing it, and they're taking care of the kids. And that taking care of kids deal,
dude,
it's a whole different deal.
It's a whole different.
It's like business is a whole different deal, but then like the kids, the family, so I get that.
But we were, I was kind of doing my
growing
thing.
apart a little bit.
Growing apart because you would come back and like I would be so excited, and then she's changing diapers. Right, and it's like hard to make that connection, and I think there was a little bit of resentment maybe there too because I was outgoing, can go out to dinner, can sleep in the hotel, and they're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning because the baby's crying.
And then you're trying to tell them these different things, and then they don't really understand. You know? And then there's some, and I feel like as a man too, because I did the same thing. Then there would be some resentment towards her because you're like, well, why aren't you growing? Like, why aren't you excited? And then, but then in your mind, it's like we don't realize because we're kind of stupid, right? That we're like, they're like, bro, I wasn't there, and I was with the kid yelling at me all day, and then you're like. Trying to get them excited, but they're not. They weren't there.
Yeah, and so in a way, I brought her here. Yeah, and there's been more impact in Allie's life than there has been in my life, and mine's been like if I went and I told her we're going to do this exercise where we're going to sit down and we're going to write out all the things that we've accomplished in the past year. Right, it's like the gap in the gain. You're always looking here, but you don't appreciate or think about all the things you've actually done. Like our life has changed so much in the past 13 months, and the best part for me was in North Carolina. We were comfortable. We just built our dream house, literally just finished it. And I was like, we're moving. In 2 weeks we were here when we made that decision. But when we came here at the time, met Andy, we weren't talking and we had a 4-hour conversation, And when we left there, like I got more excited about my business. My relationship immediately improved. And like everything has just been so much better because he just shifted my perspective just a little bit. It wasn't like I came in this horrible person, whatever. Yeah, you just needed that little He just got me thinking just a little bit different, and it was more about the family thing. Yeah. Right? And it was like, oh, I'm going to put more attention to this because this is the secret. Totally. I love the way this feels. And, so we left out of here, like, Allie was nervous. She was scared to even look at him, and and so that was very intimidating for her. Yeah, because it was something new that she's never done, and so it put her in an uncomfortable situation where she had to grow. And Andy's not going to hold back from anybody, so he's going to tell you, he's going to challenge the wife and the husband. Yeah. And then we came to the event, like, I think it was that weekend or something, and we've just never experienced anything like it. The energy, and people say it's motivation, but again, there's every event, and I'm at all of them, every event, I take pages and pages and pages of notes. And if people would just take that and they figure out how to go implement one thing and do that every single month, your life would be totally different in 12 months. Totally. And people are just they're coming in, consuming and not implementing, right? So most people self-developing, they're just spending too much time consuming and getting motivated, and then they leave back and they turn into their same person. And that's why you got to get around new people. And so the biggest difference I found with Allie is the people we're around in North Carolina, it's not that they were bad people. They were just here. And I'm not saying that in a mean way, but I'm trying to go here. And the people that were around weren't like that. And
even the wives.
I don't hang around people. Like I'm only around certain people. If you don't align with my values and you're not going where I want to go, I don't talk to anybody here except for you guys.
Yeah.
Because if I tell Allie, like, if your friends back home, they weren't talking about how to make their marriage better. They weren't talking about how to build their business. They weren't talking about how to get in shape. They weren't talking about how to be a better parent. They weren't talking about their faith. And if they're not doing that, and you're wanting to get the good life, then you're wasting your time.
Totally.
Because you're never going to get it. So those are the people that if you want the good life, and that's what that is for me, then I have to be around people that are just aligned with that. And anything outside of that is a distraction.
Totally.
And so you got to put guardrails on. And like, you don't let them in. Like, you don't let anything in.
Totally.
And then you start to change. So seeing her over the past year evolve, meeting your wife and Jacqueline, all these different people.
It's like she has a community of women too.
And it took a while to get there.
Yeah.
But it's so much better
because she had to come out of her shell and start to learn and grow too. And that's crazy usually for women, because it's like they're just doing their thing, right?
Exactly. But she liked the friends there. But again, I'm the leader of the household. I started to see, I was like, this ain't going to get us the life that I want for you guys, because I want my family to have a life that neither one of us had growing up, and I'm going to get it. And I'm not letting anything stand in the way of getting that. But the growth I've seen with her being here,
she's grown a ton,
has changed everything. The friendships are better. They're better. Again, they're just aligned differently.
Yeah, totally. It's just it's like white and black. It's totally different.
Yeah, and now she finally told me last month, he's like, I can see what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Because I see everything I've ever got in my life, I see it before I get it. Like I knew before I met Andy that I was going to get close to Andy. Like, it was my mission. I already knew. And you guys too. I told her, like, you can ask her before we even met. I said exactly what I'm going to do. And then I manifest it.
Well, how many
but
people,
I put the work in too.
How many people don't see that, like, vision in their business and what you're saying? And, like, that's funny you say that, because I always, like, my mom will always say, like, and Miranda will always say, if I say something that comes out of my mouth, it's done. Like, because I'm going to go get it no matter what.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people don't even do that in sales. They don't do that in their health. They don't do that in their marriage. They don't do that in a lot of these things. One of the coolest things that I've seen is her growing. Like, she's always around here. She's always doing something. She's always adding value to other people. But, you know, it's like a lot of the times the women, I really feel like the women don't have a community, and men are out there, like, trying to pursue, and then they're trying to figure out these things with their wives. But it's like the wives need an outlet.
That's
like,
right, they do.
No matter if you're in our community or not, it's like your wife has to, in my opinion, like, you have to be able to get your wife around other women that are doing that have husbands like us.
I was going to say, entrepreneurs, and that's the big difference there than here. If you're working just a regular job, you can't have, like, you're not going to understand, because we're crazy.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I know that I am difficult.
Yeah, I know that I'm a difficult too.
And you guys see the good Jason. I'm not mean, but, like, I'm not easy. Yeah, I'm not easy to work for.
Either.
I'm not easy to be with.
I'm on 24/7, 365.
Right.
Like, there's always something going on. I'm always doing something.
Right.
I know that when I talk to her, I know that her living with me is living with, like, a monster.
Yeah.
In the best possible way. Like, I'm just a crazy, obsessed, driven individual. I leave the house at 5 o'clock. I forget a lot of things on the way. I got to check, like, she's got to constantly coach me. But then, sometimes my ego flares up where I got to, like, understand if I'm not seeing things. So, like, I know dealing with me is a lot. And then also dealing with the mission that I'm on, like, it's not easy because I'm after greatness. So like, I know that involves her having to go along with that 100%. With me. And there's a certain level of commitment your family has to be on for you to be on the level. And I'm thankful we get that, because we're not the easiest, but we have women that support that. There's a lot of women out there, though, that I feel that their husbands would be further if they understood what we're talking about. Because I see in salespeople's life and in entrepreneurs' life, they've honestly chosen a woman that honestly doesn't complement the mission. It honestly suffocates their mission. 100%. And they could be great, but then they've got the woman like I had when I was 29 years old, when I was going to go do this business with Andy. She was trying to talk me out of it every step of the way. She never told me, hey, I believe you could do this. She kept saying, we shouldn't do this. We're comfortable. Like it was just always about her. And at a point, I felt like I had to make a decision. I either had to go this way or that way. And I said, well, you're going to go this way. I got to go that way. Because I knew that ultimately the life I was going to go get, I had to have a partner that understood and wanted to go on this mission with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's like, well, they say, like, the most important decision you ever make is who you're going to spend your life with.
Yeah.
Right? And I know I got that right. You got it right. And you're right. Allie supports she just follows. She follows me. Like I'm the leader. I'm setting the vision, and she believes in my ability. You know, so when I make the decision, like I know I'm going to do it. I just need you to support me along the way. And you're right, man. I see a lot of people. They're just with someone it's like they're competing with each other.
Totally.
And it just doesn't work. And you have someone that's supporting you, and they're taking care of your family and the kids, and they're taking care of you, and they're there to listen to you. That's what it's about. And it's like, you know, that's your best friend, right? Allie's my best friend. I didn't have a best friend until I was 35 years old, which is when I met Allie, and she was 21. So that used to be impressive. Yeah. Right? She was 21, I was 35. Yeah. It's crazy. And we met in the gym, but I literally, like, the first time we met, we talked for like 8 hours straight, and we've never been apart since.
Dude, that's
and
crazy.
it's like, I never knew what a friendship was until I met her, and she's still my best friend to today. And yes, it's very difficult.
What's some ways that, because you said one thing that helped me in my relationship, and you were like, hey, and I'm still not the best at it, but I'm like making a lot more intention of it. Matter of fact, like I talk with Liza, my assistant, I'm like, hey, you need to schedule this entire day, Thursday in the morning. Don't let anything come in the middle of it. Now I've let shit come in the middle of it for sure. So I'm more like, I want to be transparent. Like I'm definitely not stuck into it like I should. But you said one time, like, hey, I can't remember what it was. You're like, hey, we have a date day or date night every Thursday, every Friday, you said, I think it was Friday, and we don't let anything come between. We sit between it, and like we work things out at that. And I'm like, man, I never thought about that. I'm kind of being reactive, and like, because I'm on this mission, I sometimes would like forget the dates. And so like now, when you said that, I was like, man, I got to get a little bit more intentional in that area. And that goes to running with the right group, because when you said that, I never even told you that, but I didn't know that. I actually like set it on my calendar where I'm like, I got to get better at this.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And it's on my calendar. And it's not perfect. Like I'm definitely not perfect. And again, it starts again when I met Andy. Like I'm telling you, everything changed the way I think about things. I've never been more intentional about my relationship, and I'm still not very good at it. Like, to be clear, but I'm way like aware. And first thing you got to be is people that are not aware.
First step to learning is awareness.
They're not doing anything if you're not
self-aware.
self-aware.
First step to learning to me is awareness. If you know that there's a problem, or you know that there's some lack of, then you can change it, right?
So we started a couple things. One is like we call it the marriage meeting, and we do it every week. Try to consistently. Do we miss weeks? Yeah, or we have to put it off another day because I've had to move it? Yes, but like sitting down for that 30 minutes, that one thing has changed so much for me, because before I'm pinging her here and there, like stressing her out. And I was like, we sit down once a week and figure out, okay, what do you need from me? What do the kids got going on? Because we've got sports like all these different times. I'm like, I got to have it on my calendar. I just can't. You can't just call me and say, I got this. So put it on my calendar. What do you need from me? What do I need from you? What did I do last week you didn't like? This is a time where you can be open and transparent. The only time. We've agreed that what stays here, we're going to be honest and open, and then we're going to leave and everything's going to be good. That one thing right there has changed everything. Just by getting aligned and making sure, like, hey, we're going here. This is what I need next week. Here's what didn't work. What trip are we going on? Like, and make it fun. And like just doing that 30 minutes or an hour,
super impactful.
Because then you can leave for the next 6 days and go do what it is that we do, which is go crazy and we're all over the place.
But it gives you that intentional time. It's kind of like managing the KPIs in a business. It's like getting 100%. Together and being like, hey, let's go over the data. Let's go over and see, we're good at that because we understand business. So if you're an entrepreneur out there, maybe you get proactive with your assistant. Maybe you get proactive with having a marriage meeting, and maybe one thing Andy always says is it can't just be about your goals, it has to be about their goals.
That's right.
Like I for so long was so driven by my goals, but then I never even asked Miranda like what her goals were. And then she had goals and I'm like, I didn't even know you had goals. Like
we're bad at that. Right?
So I got to sit down and constantly go over that. What's one thing that you like when you were with Andy that like made you make a shift or made you uncomfortable? Because Andy's going to have some almost embarrassing conversations sometimes, like with you, right? Like he's going to, like I've got 1,000 of them where I'd be sitting with Miranda and I'm over here trying to talk business, and then he's like talking about shit that was like I didn't even enter the conversation for, and then I was leaving the conversation like, oh shit, because like I think that that's a good coach where they're not telling you what you want to hear, they're telling what you like shit that you're like, damn man,
Yeah, I think a good coach triggers you. Right. It's not, some people can't handle that, but I want the truth. And I'm trying to get better. Number one, so that's why I'm around people like that. That's very direct.
He's not just around people. He literally moved his whole family here to be around that because you knew you needed some of that in your life.
100%. So I love getting around him and spending that time because You know, he's told me several times, like, Allie loves you more than you love her. Like, he can tell, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't like hearing that, but like, man, well, what do I need to do to kind of change that, right? But, you know, it's just the biggest impact that he's made on me. One is, like I said, I've always been in shape, but I want to, when I come here, I want to be in better shape now. Like, I'm more, and I don't know how much more discipline I could be around getting in shape, but like, it takes me to another level. Like, dude, if I think about having hot sauce, I'll think of you guys. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to let them have the edge on me. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's good. That is good. Because it's leveling me up. It's making sure I'm staying focused on me. It's making sure that I am taking care of my wife. But again, because we weren't doing that great when we met him. And I think the biggest impact he's had, and I'll say Jackie too. Jackie has like really impacted Allie. Like more than I can even express and explain just by being in her presence. But she has like really impacted Allie a lot, and we're around them, as much as we can be. They're super busy people, but the biggest thing I've took away from being a part of this group, I mean, honestly, it's about my marriage and my relationship. It's, I'm not the guy he needs to yell at to get in shape, right? But like my marriage is like super important to me, and being around him and you guys is like really like just amplified that. And honestly, like just becoming the best version of myself. That's why I'm on every call. Like literally, I'm on all these calls.
It's like
I tune into everything because it's like I just need to keep hearing the drip, 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 drip. Even though I've heard it, maybe I've heard it before, and that's what you guys are missing. Like, well, I've heard it before. No, you need to hear it over and over again. You don't just read the Bible one time and put it down, do you?
You hear it differently, like in a different version of yourself that you are.
Well, and two, like when you're listening or like coming to the events or reading a Bible or anything, you may not be prepared at that time to hear that information. 6 months later, you hear the same message, it hits you differently. Now go figure out how to implement that, your life changes. And if you just keep doing that, you just keep growing as a person. And it's like, it's addictive. Like I'm obsessed with getting better. Like I'm literally, the reason I'm doing this coaching is because I'm so passionate about becoming the best version of Jason. To where I can impact other people, because I had no one doing that when I was younger. And the way that I grew up, poor, no money, no anything, I've created everything myself with a high school education. And that's what I tell people, like, if you get clear on what it is you want, you can meet the right people, you have the right skill set, or develop the right skill set, and then take action. And most people don't know number one, and they don't do number four.
100%.
And so they never get anything. It's like, if you just do those four things, you can have anything in life you want. And being around people that are always trying to grow, it just levels you up. Just being here in Scottsdale, obviously it's more expensive to live here, where we're at than North Carolina. We were super comfortable.
The shitty houses are $2 million.
Dude, it's super comfortable where we came from. And now it's here, it's like, well, I guess I gotta
go to the next level.
You gotta go to the next level.
And then you're around people that are like, what you make in a year, they make in a month or something. Then you're like, damn, man, I gotta roll,
And they don't understand, and that's why I tell people over and over again, who you're around would determine the life you get. Period. You want to get in shape, just get around people in shape. You don't even know how to eat. Just get around people that are in shape, and they'll level you up.
Totally, just by their habits and who they are. So a couple of things about Jason is, obviously he's a massively successful entrepreneur. You can see the passion he speaks with. You can see, I mean, if you really were intentional with what you just heard in this small training, like this small conversation, like this is how me and him talk every day when we're picking up our kids. One of the coolest things in my life is, like, if I want to go pick up Cannon today, I just can go, right?
That's right.
Like, it's creating freedom and creating a life. But I also went through 15 years of suck to be able to like establish the skills, which, because I made so much money early on in my 20s, which wasn't that much money, but at the time I thought it was, is like I honestly didn't even develop like new skills that I could have developed to buy me that freedom earlier on, similar to you. So one thing that I like about him that I want you guys to know is he's got a YouTube channel, and we'll put the YouTube channel in the description, that you can go see different things that he's building, fitness, mindset. This guy is like full mastery. So when you're looking at business, he's a guy that, like, he's a good looking dude, he's in great shape, but then people think, oh man, he must just be a fitness trainer. No, man, what he did was he built a life on fitness, he built a life on mindset, and then honestly, there's not a lot of like, multi 8-figure entrepreneurs that you can actually get a hold of, that you can actually coach with, that you can actually like, there's some people online that they're saying all these like things and they're chat GPT in them, and it sounds cool, but then they're not living by them, or it sounds cool, but then they haven't really built a life. Like when I'm talking about sales, when I'm talking about mindset, when I'm talking about running a company, it's actually the shit that I'm doing like right now today. Like I'm actually going through the suck. I'm actually going through a lot of these different things. So what I want to encourage you to do is, he's got a school that you can get into. We'll put a link out there because I want you guys to learn from people, not just me. Like, I want you to learn from people that are doing what they're telling other people that are doing, that are fighting for their dreams, that are, like, if you listen to anything today, this is a guy that's dreaming, he's passionate, he's driven, he's going after these things, he's got the receipts, he's doing these things. So we'll drop the links of where you can connect with him on. And then Jason, what's some of the last things you want to kind of let them out with some things that, you know, maybe just be on your heart?
Yeah, I would say, like, going back to the fitness, like, if you're not in shape, guys, you need to spend time and get in shape. I tell people I've gotten more doors because I'm in shape, especially being 49.
Yeah.
I get someone stops me all the time. They think I'm a trainer. I'm not a trainer. Like, I know how to transform your body. With you know, the skills that I have, because I've paid to get these skills over the past 20 years.
If somebody wanted to learn those skills, could they reach out to you?
Absolutely. You know, reach out, send me a DM on Instagram is probably the easiest way to do that. Or we can put a number in there
we'll put it there
too. But, you know, taking care of yourself is like the best thing that you can do if you really want to get everything in life, because you are a walking billboard. And I tell people this, and ask yourself, would you buy what you're advertising? And if the answer is no, then you need to figure out how to get around someone that's in shape, that's living the way you want to, and figure out how to get close to that person and get that information from them. It's not, like, getting in shape is not hard, it takes discipline. You got to be consistent. There's no magic pill, there's no magic formula, but you need to be around someone that's actually doing it. There's a lot of people out here training people, and they're in shape maybe 3 months out of the year. I'm in shape 12 months out of the year. I don't get out of shape at Thanksgiving or Christmas or anything. And this is how I live. This is my standard, and it's my identity. And if you can figure out how to make it your identity, and you get in shape, people will respect you. Like, people will want to buy from you. People will want to listen to you. People want to do business with you because there's an instant respect. And that's how I've gotten I think that's why I have a connection with Andy. It's because I'm in shape and I'm older, and he understands that it takes
he likes
to do that.
He likes to hang around you because he sees that your priorities are in line. So, like, even though you're a client, you're also a really good friend of his because he likes to travel with you. He likes when he goes to a restaurant that you guys eat the same things. He likes to hang around you and you guys have shit in common. Like, we've built fat dudes to be not fat dudes and have more in common, right? Like, we don't have just a ton of perfect people or even a lot of the disciplines, just like you. You're coaching a lot of people to get those disciplines. But what you establish is you have more in common with that person even when they're changing. Dude, we've seen the people change, but a lot of people don't realize that becoming part, that becoming you part is what's going to attract the next level of your life, of your sales, of your company, of your fitness, of your employees. So a lot of it has to do with that, just that mastery part. And more than anything, you know when you look in the mirror if you like who you see.
That's right.
And you know that, like, and us, if we get out of that eating or we get out of the habit for a little bit of time, bro, we have to get right back on because we know that it's like, we're oh shit. You know, so I like that part. If you want to talk with Jason about a lot of this is one of the things I like about Jason too, is he doesn't have to do a coaching program. He's got a multi-8-figure company. But if you want to learn from somebody who is doing it because you have the purpose, you know, I always say, you know, passion, like when you go do something that you're passionate about, it brings out the next level of you. You're doing something in the coaching space that you don't have to do, but you really like seeing these people transform their minds, their bodies, their businesses. Like, you get driven by that. It's like 100%. A new fuel for you. And then that purpose of seeing people change is really like what me and him are working on together. So he has a coaching program that you can get into and you can check out, man. I mean, there's a small entry, there's a full commitment where you can fly down here and they can run with you for a day, or a week, like what doesn't matter. So reach out to him. I want you to replay this podcast. I mean, this training, whatever you call it. We don't even have a podcast, but I wanted to have a conversation with him, an intentional conversation, because when we were at school the other day, I'm like, people need to see how me and you talk, because it's basically a podcast between me and you at all times.
In the school parking lot.
In the school parking lot. Like, I'm like, maybe we just need a camera to follow us to the school parking lot, because it's like, it's always epic. I always leave that conversation like, oh shit, like I got an idea. So, guys, hope you learned a lot. Go follow Jason on Instagram. By the way, he didn't even have an Instagram a year ago when we met him. He didn't even have a social media. Now he's got hundreds of thousands of people following him. He's got the coaching program that's growing. It's how fast, once you get onto something, if you learned anything from him today, what I heard the whole time was immersion, like totally immersed. He's like, I've been on every call, I'm on this, I'm on that, I'm implementing these things, I'm at the seminars, I'm going hard. I mean, the dude even moved here. So how bad do you want it? Like, how close can you get to guys that are doing the different things that you want? And then how aware are you? How much will you like go into it? He said something in the seminar. When I'm in the seminar, I'll walk away, I take one thing, I execute it. I use it in my marriage. I use it in my life. So figure out one thing that you can learn from this, execute it in your life, and then we'll see you on the other side. Kick some ass. Thanks,
Cool.
Jason. Appreciate it.
This was good.
Dude, that was good, dude.
I enjoyed this.
That was
we do this
great,
every
dude.
week.
Oh, way down.